Gaffer, who have you got in your armband this weekend?
I've got my mum's name. She passed away, unfortunately, a couple of weeks away from 5 years ago, and she played such a major role in my life, obviously bringing me into the world in the first place. But yeah, just I spoke to my wife about it, and because I didn't want to upset my wife, but she thought it was the right thing to do.
So I've got several really sort of influential women in my life. My mum, obviously, grandmother, mother-in-law, my wife of a long-suffering wife. But I've gone for my daughter, Sophia. I've got 2 children. She's my only daughter, and I've gone for her. She's 5, and she's a joy and an inspiration every day, and that's why I've gone for her.
This weekend I've got my mum, Maxine, my wife Alex, and my daughter Lexi.
I've got my mum.
Why did you pick your mum?
Because she is such an inspiration to me. She is the reason I am who I am today, and I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for her support. Quite simple answer, really.
See, my mum brought me into the world. She's been, a big supporter of me ever since I started playing football at 5 years of age, and she's done many a journey up and down the country watching me. So, and also I don't want to get told off for leaving her house, so that's why she's made the armband. And similarly to that, my wife Alex has obviously also been on the football journey with me. We've been together since we were 15 years of age, and she's been through the whole football process with me, and moved around the country, moved to other countries with me, and always been the rock behind the scenes. And then, yeah, finally, Lexi, my daughter. Again, I think I'd have been in big trouble if I'd have left her out. But no, listen, she's my only daughter, and she loves football herself as well. And it was quite a simple process to pick the 3 of them.
I think everyone's mums, means a lot to them. But I think since losing her, brought home to me how much she meant to me, how much she'd helped me through my life, how much unconditional love, no matter how much I messed up and made mistakes. She was always there for me with a sympathetic arm and a hug, and she was like that for me, my brother, and my 2 sisters all the way through her life, and we all miss her really so much. So anything to commemorate my mum and her part in my life and our family's life, I think is worthwhile.
You touched on it a bit there, but what's her influence been on your life and career?
I just think, I think we all make mistakes through our lives, and I think my relationship with my dad's a little bit sterner, as you could expect. And I thought for a long time that I was probably more like my dad in my behaviour and stuff. But as I got older and a little bit more mellow, I would say, I actually wanted to be more like my mum, and how forgiving she was, how understanding she was, how she was always ready for it with a smile, always looked on the positive side of life, never let problems get to her and get her down, and it was just always great to be in her presence. That was it. We didn't have to be doing anything special. We could just be eating a packet of biscuits late at night, watching a film, as we would do, certainly when we were young. And it was just great to be in her company. And so no matter what happened in our lives as kids, we knew we could walk in the house and have unconditional love waiting for us. And that means a lot. And I think I've took a lot from that sort of side of my relationship with my parents, and tried to, since she passed away, tried to live every day in a way where I don't worry about the little things and don't get too caught up in dramas, because there's much more important things in life. And unfortunately, it probably took my mum passing for me to actually realise that.
Yeah, huge. All for different and also similar reasons. Everyone's mum is always really supportive of them, and like I said, my mum's given me everything and travelled up and down the country when I was coming through the academy at Tranmere, and has, like I said, been on the journey. And she's a great babysitter, so I've got to keep her on side. And like I said, Alex is, you know, she's the mother of our 3 children, and you know, like I said, she's been on the full football journey with me, and gotten to the stage where she batters me in the car if I don't play well. And Lexi, yeah, like I said, she's, you know, my only daughter. I've got 2 sons, and Lexi's a big fan of football. I think when England won the Euros, she obviously fell in love with the sport even more so then, and she's not really had a choice. 2 boys play football as well, and she's been dragged around watching my eldest son Max for years, and watching me. So like I said, yeah, three very important figures in my life.
She's had a massive influence on me as a person, but also what I do and everything I'm doing with her game too, and keep pushing to make women more inclusive in sport and things like that. Yeah, she's my biggest supporter, and I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for her.
Huge. I think having children generally, she's, like I say, the youngest of 2, but having children generally has been a huge sort of factor in my career. Changes kind of the way you look at everything really in life, but particularly with her, she's been hugely influential for me. She's a huge source of strength for me. I've spoken before, Sophia was born with a rare genetic condition that means she has plenty of different challenges on a day-to-day basis, but throughout all of that, she is a joy. She wakes up every single day with a smile on her face, raring to go, and I think that's a great source of inspiration, not just for me in my role, but for all of us in our family and in all our lives. She's a real privilege to be her father.
And how will you feel wearing that armband out there on Saturday?
Yeah, really proud. I think, like I say, since having children, you know, you everything you do is for them and for your family. You're constantly trying to win and be the best you can be, and do everything for them. And I think back to some of the special times we've had since they've been in our lives, particularly last season. They were here for the celebrations and on that final day, and memories with them both on the pitch that will last a lifetime. So yeah, they're a huge source of inspiration, and when they're here in the stadium, they try to come to as many games as they can. But particularly this weekend with her name on the armband, it'll be extra special. Yeah,
nice. It'd be obviously, like I said, it's, you know, our family are always at the forefront of my mind when I'm playing. It's the reason I want to do well and have success is for them, and you know, to have it on an armband, you know, it just makes that day a little bit extra special.
I'm really proud. Yeah, she deserves to be recognised for what she's done for me. Like, I feel like mums and sisters and aunties don't really get that much credit because we're the ones doing the stuff. So it's nice to have her name on something associated with what we're doing with the club.
Well, I always feel she's with me anyway. You know, I think you know, my brothers and sisters all feel like that, and my dad, obviously, who miss her, you know, more than anybody else. But the one thing she was proud of us all in all our different ways. But I know how much she loved me playing football. She knew how much it meant to me, and she came and watched me in all the big occasions, and yeah. So I know her support was always there while she was alive, and I don't think that's changed now that she's not here.
And how important is it to ensure that football is a game for all?
Well, look, I think the relationship I had with my mum and then my wife. Now I've got twin daughters, you know, so I know how important the women are in my life, and how they live in a way where we can take so much from them, and I like the way that the world has changed. It still needs to continue to change, but the opportunities, the equal opportunities that are out there now for women compared to men in football, but football's one small part of life, but in all sorts of ways. And I think having my daughters grow up and want those opportunities has made me realise how the world perhaps was for my mum growing up, for my wife growing up, and how much I believe it's got better for women nowadays. There's still lots of improvement to make, obviously, but I think how life has progressed in the last probably couple of decades is I think it's been fantastic to see, you know, because I'm getting on a little bit now and I've seen the difference, and I know how much it means to my daughters to be able to have those opportunities. So what we're doing on Saturday as a club, I think, is a great way to represent what is a special time for women all around the world, and hopefully we can do our bit.
Yeah, massively huge. I think especially in recent years, I think the women's games grew massively, and my daughter plays grassroots football. She obviously loves watching England, and she's got aspirations of maybe becoming a footballer herself someday. So huge, and I think, you know, any way we can help is, you know, as the, you know, I think the male side of things predominantly been at the forefront for years, but I think there's certainly been a big shift and a lot more support towards the women's game, and like I said, I'm a big supporter because, like I said, my daughter is aspiring to become a footballer herself.
Really important. I think having a daughter, I want her to never have any opportunities. I never want her to feel like there's anything she can't do, and that's across her whole life. Particularly in sport, you've seen a huge rise in the women's game over the last 5, 10, 15 years. And it's a game for everyone, you know, particularly the women. You know, the women on the national stage have shown the men up plenty of times over the last few years, and there's a prime example of the inspiration that the women and the girls game can bring for everyone. So yeah, it's hugely important, and it's a really great thing that we're doing, highlighting the women's side of the game and the opportunities that they deserve.
It's massively important, which is the reason why we do what we do at Her Game too. It's so fundamental to make sure that everyone in sport feels comfortable, no matter if you're a fan, a player, whoever, as long as you feel comfortable coming to games.